hand down, man down. Fisher for three. Bang!
This is the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Mama, there goes that man.
Shoots and scores! What a play by Tavares!
The noise you can't ignore.
What up? Welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show. We got our last show before All Noise.
Yes.
We're excited.
Yes, we sure are.
Yeah.
It's a long time coming.
Yeah, definitely. Today on the show, we're going to get into the free agent signings and everything because the last time we were on the air, it was right before the free agents.
A couple hours before it started.
Yeah. So
now that's pretty much
we'll see what we got right, what we got wrong. We'll get into all the teams where that made a big splash. We'll get into what they mean to what the signings will do to their team. Later on the show, we'll get into UFC 158, big fight between GSP and Nick Diaz. You always love the fights that
when they hate each other.
Yeah. So and then we'll get into a couple of more fights on that card, and then we'll get into a little bit NBA and NHL. The top team supposedly going into the season in the NHL dropping down to the ninth seed.
Yes.
So we'll get into that later on. But first off, we'll start off with the signings. Tom, who do you think made the biggest splash?
I think overall Miami might have made the most noise.
Yeah.
They got the big name, it seems. This year was Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Seemed to be the big target.
And it looked like they stole Danielle Ellerbe from the Ravens. I don't even think the Ravens seen that coming.
I don't think they had time to because it seemed like they wanted to try and keep Ellerbe as the one guy they could try to keep.
That's what I figured, because I figured they just let Kruger go because they knew they were going to sign Ellerbe.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen.
Dolphins came out of nowhere and threw a nice contract at him.
Yeah.
He
took that.
Can't say anything about him not taking it.
Yeah.
Who's not gonna?
We're not gonna get really into the contracts and everything because it'll just a lot of people don't know what the hell we're talking about.
But they made a nice little splash with
definitely
three signings as of today with the getting Keller from the Jets.
Yeah.
And Mike Wallace and Ellerbe, as we were talking about. So I think
they also signed Brian Hartline, who was already on Miami. But I mean, I think he got a little bit of a high contract for that. But
they're making some nice moves. I mean, and then they were a decent team last year. They're only going to get better with the rookie quarterback they had, Tannehill.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be a much improved team next year.
Yeah, definitely. I liked what the Chiefs did.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
definitely.
I mean, you could go, I like the Seahawks. I like what the Seahawks did getting Percy Harvin. And then they also signed Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett to, shore up that front line that they got to go with that disgusting secondary that they have. But, and then the Broncos getting Wes Welker and then signing Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, making their team better, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that the Chiefs really stepped over that hump. I mean, they signed back Dwayne Bowe, signed back Colquitt, which is a very good punter. Then they shore up their secondary, which was already pretty good with Eric Berry and Brandon Flowers. They get Dante Robinson and Sean Smith. That's very good pickups. Then on the offensive side, they got Chase Daniel to really back up their quarterback. Donnie Avery, very good wide receiver, to go along with Dwayne Bowe and Steve Breston. And then they got, a tight end that they really haven't had
since Tony.
Yeah, really. And I'm not going to say he's nothing compared to Tony.
Obviously.
Tony Gonzalez, and really.
They just haven't had any.
Honestly, I think other than Cook, I think he might have been the best tight end on the free agent list. Anthony Fasano, very good blocking and receiving tight end.
Not the fastest guy, obviously, but over the middle.
Definitely,
the first
definitely. I think they still have Moyaki.
Yeah, and
so
obviously, as we've mentioned before, with getting Alex Smith, that wasn't free agency, but I mean.
It was all these trade.
Yeah, just all these moves they're making this offseason really.
These were much needed moves. Their offense was always decent, and they didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean Matt Castle really
was decent last year. They couldn't get in when they got in the red zone. They couldn't get touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, you know what it was. Jamal Charles is a very good running back.
Yeah,
he's
not
just
red
not
zone
that.
running
He's
back.
not that red zone back. He's that speed.
They can get like
finesse.
something like that. I mean, I don't know how they'll be able to manage that this year. Like a nice backup running back, like a Brandon Jacobs, type like that. That'll be something they really need because, with those red zone struggles. I mean, if Jamal Charles is a great running back, but when you get in that red zone, you got to be able to get it in.
Exactly.
You need a running back that can get you those tough yards.
Yeah, I mean, I really love what they did.
Yeah, definitely.
I really because like I said, like I've been saying, all season, I really like the team that they have, and like I said, they needed a quarterback, and they got their quarterback. Alex Smith is a very good quarterback,
Proven quarterback in this league.
And then to add to Eric Berry, Sean Smith, very good.
Yes.
Cornerback who will probably be a slot cornerback. Dante Robinson will probably be on the other side of Brandon Flowers. So I mean, these two cornerbacks are very good. They've proven themselves. Yeah. Dante Robinson was very good with the Texans. Really kind of fell off with Atlanta. Thought they were going to really make a splash with him, but he really didn't show up. But I think he'll be good with the Chiefs. Because he's not that number one.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that number one.
He's not relying on very heavily.
So, and then Sean Smith, very good.
Yeah.
He'll be a slot. So, I mean, I really do put them probably the number 2 in that division just because of what the Broncos did with getting Wes Welker. That's a huge, huge pickup.
Yeah, and the Broncos should be able to. I mean, they're going to be. I'm not going to say they're not going to win playoff games. I'm not going to get into that, but. They're going to be a very regular season team with Peyton, as he always does. He'll get his 11, 12 wins in the regular season, so that's going to be tough for the Chiefs to, overcome. But I would not be surprised if they snuck in as that wild card. Not at all.
No, not at all. Also, Steven Jackson goes to Atlanta.
Which we don't, we talked about this. We don't really understand why.
See, you know what it is? It's a good pickup because Steven Jackson is very good running back. I don't really know what he's going to do more than Michael Turner. I mean, they're the same kind of, physical.
It didn't work the first time.
Yeah, downhill kind of running back like Michael Turner. And don't get me wrong. I think Steven Jackson is a better running back than Michael Turner. I don't know. I think he would have been a better fit with the Green Bay Packers. That would have been a dangerous team because of Aaron Rodgers and everything. And you know what it is with Atlanta?
Their backup running back is actually really good too. I can't. Yeah. I don't know why.
Jacquizz Rodgers.
Yeah. He's a valuable running back.
He definitely is.
He had some nice moments last year.
He pretty much took them through the playoffs. Michael Turner kind of fell off.
You think that with releasing Turner, maybe they would turn to him. Save a couple $1 million in the payroll.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just a little odd.
It is a weird signing. Because Atlanta's more like even Green Bay. They're both more of a passing team, but I think. Atlanta more so because of their wide receivers. Their wide receivers are studs in the NFL. I mean, you look over at Green Bay, and it looks like they don't know what's going on with Greg Jennings.
We don't know the Vikings.
So who knows with that? Other than that, I mean, Jordy Nelson. That's about it. And then Randall Cobb really showed himself this year.
Yeah, he's probably going to keep growing into a viable receiver.
I don't know. It's a weird signing.
We'll leave it at that.
I don't know if this will get them over the hump.
I don't see why I would because it's as you said,
basically
it's the same thing.
And I honestly, Matt Ryan's just a regular season quarterback. Yeah. I mean, he finally got his the playoff win.
But I don't know. Had that NFC Championship game. All he had to do was just be mediocre at best after that.
Yeah, I mean, for what they did to the Seahawks in the first half of that game, I mean, to not win that game, it's bad.
And then they get shut out in their own stadium in the title game.
They are bringing Tony Gonzalez back, so that's good. Don't know, if he's going to keep that high level of play after, pretty much I think he like put it all into this year.
Yeah, you kind of saw it. Yeah, you saw
So
that.
I don't know what he's going to bring to next year, but I mean, he is the best tight end statistically. Even arguably the best one right now, playing right now.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with Atlanta. It's all going to be on Matt Ryan's hands, like it it always has.
Yep.
I just don't think they have the defense to really get themselves far enough in the playoff run.
I would agree,
because I mean now they just pretty much got rid of their, they're arguably the best cornerback.
Yeah, they have some nice young ones.
They got Asante Samuel still on that team, but I never really liked Asante Samuel. I thought he was more of a a ball hawk.
Yeah, he's up there with the career interceptions and stuff like that.
He does get beat a lot.
Yeah.
If he
takes a lot of chances.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Dwight Freeney is meeting with the Patriots.
It's funny how these with Dwight Freeney might go to the Patriots. Wes Welker leaving the Patriots for Peyton Manning.
It's crazy. I mean, other big signings. I mean, Deshaun Goldson going to Tampa Bay to play along with Mark Barron.
They have a nice safety combination.
Yeah, Mark Barron still is there. So that's a nice little defensive pair. Cullen Jenkins went to the Giants, which whatever. I mean, the guy really didn't do anything with Philly, so I don't know why you would pay. But they got they lost Chris Canty, who went to Baltimore, which is a very good fit for Baltimore. Going along with Nada.
Actually adding someone instead of losing someone it's a nice change for once this week. So
I mean, it's tough for the Ravens because they lost so many players, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Like I said, I mean, Victor Cruz, this is a big question mark for the Giant fans. They were talking about maybe the Patriots, but then, like we were saying last week, like the last show, with the whole thing with his agent, I don't know what's going to happen with that. But for him to not be signed with the Giants is kind of, fishy so far.
It's been a long time coming, too. I mean, this whole contract situation with Victor Cruz.
A name I haven't heard really, which is kind of surprising in free agency, no one really talking about him, is Osi Umenyiora. I mean, for a second I forgot he was still on the free agent list.
It's pretty surprising.
I guess for the last 2 seasons he's kind of been questionable, a little bit of hurt. So I mean, I guess people are just gonna maybe go for a steal on this one. Yeah. And have you noticed that most of these contracts haven't been huge? Mm-hmm. I think people really feel like, the players really feel like, they need to get these contracts done. They're not going to really. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting to see. But Glenn Dorsey leaving the Chiefs to go to San Francisco.
That's not bad.
Not bad. It's not a bad fit because he's really not going to be that main guy.
No, yeah.
Like he was in.
Yeah, exactly.
Other than Tom Bahali
he's just pretty much going to be in between the Smith brothers.
Yeah. So we'll see with that. LaRon Landry going to the Colts. It's a good fit for the Colts. Yeah. They've been missing a real good safety since Bob Sanders has been there.
Oh man, I miss that guy. Yeah, that guy was awesome to watch.
I know. They also have Bethea, which is a very good safety.
Yeah,
but
he is.
I mean, to go along with him, LaRon Landry is definitely a good fit.
That's a nice fit.
But we'll get into a few more free agent signings. We'll get into the debacle in Baltimore, losing everybody. We'll see what happens with that. What's going on with Dallas not being players, and also talking about Baltimore, maybe a rival coming over.
It's an old rival.
So we'll see about that. You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Show on Allnoiseradio.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Show. Before we left, we just a couple more signings we wanted to get to. Reggie Bush signed with the Lions.
That's a good fit for the Lions because they really haven't. They've never really had a running back. And I'm not saying Reggie Bush is a very a great running back.
It honestly seems like Reggie Bush has gotten a little bit better.
Yeah,
as
he definitely
time
has
gone.
He definitely has.
When he first came in the league, he was very I'm not calling him soft, but he was he had that softish attitude.
Yeah.
He'd run out of bounds, instead of trying to get that one more yard. But last year in Miami, you saw him running hard every
For
play.
real, yeah. You know what it was with New Orleans? He was kind of that receiving kind of back.
Yeah,
he was
definitely.
never that.
He's never like their true running back, actually.
And Miami really put him through that, which was, it was really interesting to see. And he stepped up. He really did step up. He had a very good year last year, for Miami, who really didn't have that great of a year. But
that's a very nice fit.
It definitely is. But also, I want to get into, being that New England lost Wes Welker, they went out right away and signed Danny Amendola, which, honestly, they're kind of like the same wide receiver. And they pretty much, in my mind, I think they really stepped up. But don't get me wrong, Wes Welker is one of the best wide receivers in the league. But
for them, it was nice to step up right away.
Exactly.
And replace him. Not replace him, but, get someone.
Danny Amendola is younger. I think he's faster than Wes Welker.
He's just my problem is the injury prone. That's
you got to watch out for that. But I do think it's a better fit, than Wes Welker. And I mean, Wes Welker and Tom Brady were unbelievable together. But I think they could be pretty. Danny Amendola and Tom Brady could be pretty special. Also.
It's gonna be it's a nice fit. I mean, the Patriots know what they're doing.
Yeah,
they know what kind of players they want to get for. What they run, and Amendola fits that.
Yeah. A few rivals, switching jerseys. Kenny Phillips going over to Philly.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's pretty crazy going from the Giants to Philly. Also, like we were saying before, the Ravens maybe making a splash. Picking up James Harrison. He's meeting with the Ravens today.
And it's crazy. I mean, 3 years ago, if say we were doing this show 3 years ago, those words never would have came out of anyone's mouth.
Yeah.
Just even the thought of James Harrison playing for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Just like how, there's always some kind of tension with like him and Suggs. I mean, they're the loudmouths of the teams, always revving each other up. So, I mean, if they're on the same sideline now, that's I think that would be a great.
I really really like this fit. Because, people forget, 2 years ago, this guy was the Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, honestly, I didn't like that he won Defensive Player of the Year because DeMarcus Ware had, 20 sacks, 20 and a half sacks. But, James Harrison won it. He definitely deserved it. Either one of them deserved it that year. So this is a good fit for the Ravens.
Even though Pittsburgh had the number one defense last year, it seemed that he was the pass rusher. I mean, they have Woodley too, but it seems like he was the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if he joins the squad now, he's going to be on the opposite side of Suggs, and Nod is going to be in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, who are you going to put those offensive linemen on?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think this is
a really good fit. Especially losing Kruger and Ellerby.
Yes.
I'm not, and I think he's better than either one of them.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the funny thing is, people really don't realize the guy's 27 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not old.
No.
He's not old. He still has stuff left in the tank.
Just
last year he didn't
injuries.
Last year he didn't really have that great of a year because he was injured.
Yeah.
So if he could come back strong, healthy. This is definitely a good fit for Baltimore.
I'm definitely excited to
definitely a good fit.
Make sure this happens. Just a lot of I believe they're meeting tomorrow. The agent and the GM, Ozzie Newsome, are meeting tomorrow. The Ravens have just been busy with trying to get Ed Reed and stuff like that. So, but it does look like this is gonna happen, and I'm very excited.
I mean, I haven't heard anybody talk about any other teams talk about. James Harrison.
And I was reading an article this morning after you told me that, off the air before we got here, and I was reading a little bit of it, and the agent said Harrison's excited. It's the team he wants to play for. So I mean, it's
definitely because what it is. Baltimore pretty much breeds linebackers.
Exactly.
I mean, Kruger and Ellerby.
We're just
really
another one of the many that Baltimore have made.
Exactly. And I mean. They really don't have a middle linebacker right now, which they could probably.
It's kind of like a dying breed, though.
Yeah.
I mean, also.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they could go a little old. and go with Brian Urlacher because he's out there. But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's a good fit for them.
They're probably going to look at towards the draft. I mean, hopefully not
definitely.
Manti Te'o.
Yeah, I don't.
Pray to God it's not holding.
Yeah, we're talking about Manti Te'o. They're still talking about him going in the first round. I think that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a nice season. We'll give him that, but he got completely shown up in the title game.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't think he was that good. Notre Dame.
When you
don't get me
outsize
wrong,
people,
they were definitely the number one, but they really didn't play that many good teams.
and when you oversize people, it's kind of easy to tackle them.
Yeah.
But when he was outsized in the title game, he made no adjustments, and I think that was the big thing.
That's the thing. Alabama is like, I mean, just breeds NFL players.
NFL ready, and he failed the test.
Yeah, he really did. They were talking. A lot of the mock drafts say that he's going to the Giants, which that would make my day.
Yeah,
that would absolutely make my day.
I mean, I would see the Jets just because they like headlines.
Yeah.
But who knows?
The Jets really need to stay away from the headlines from now. They're probably going to release. I think they're releasing Tebow soon.
They never should have signed him in the first place.
Yeah.
Or traded for him, whatever they did.
Bears made a nice pickup with Jermon Bushrod. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman. Definitely, he was the blind side for Drew Brees. The guy.
When you're coming from the Saints line, I mean, you know what you're doing. You're good.
Exactly. That's definitely a good fit because their offensive line is terrible. Cutler really gets cracked in that backfield.
And I wouldn't, blame him. I believe his contract's up coming next year, so I wouldn't blame him for getting out of there.
Yeah. Glover Quinn, formerly of the Houston Texans, signs with Detroit. Very good pickup. He's a very good safety. I mean, pretty much, those are the big, headline names that we've really brought up.
Who do you think is going to have the best season of the new free agents next year?
Honestly, I would probably have to go with Welker.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because you go from Tom Brady and then you go to Peyton Manning, which is,
it seems like Peyton's gotten a little. Brady will still bomb it. He'll still throw. Peyton has really gotten to the point where he's literally going 15 yards at the most.
Yeah.
And that is perfect for Walker. So
exactly.
He's gonna have another 100-catch year. But
what? And I think the other wide receivers on that team will have Demaryius Thomas will have a very good year.
Yeah.
So I mean, that Welker just opens up that whole offense right there. If they can, if their running backs can stay healthy.
Yeah.
They're looking at a very potent offense. But I mean, I guess I'll give that to the offensive side for free agents. Defensive, I think Cliff Avrill's gonna have a real good year with the Seahawks.
He's already joining, a very good
front
pass rushing group.
With Bruce Irvin, and then they also added Michael Bennett, another good defensive lineman. So those are good. Those are who I think are going to have the better
I really
years.
do think Ellerby is going to be. I like Ellerby. I think he's more.
Yeah.
It seemed like he picked up a lot from Ray Lewis. He picked up a lot of the, true middle linebacker mentality. He was always lined up right next to Ray Lewis on the huddle, on the field.
Honestly, with Ellerby, I think he would probably have a better year if they would have kept Carlos Dansby.
Yeah.
I think that could have been more of a, kind of still learning kind of thing because Dansby is a nice veteran.
And now it seems that Ellerby's the man there. He's
exactly.
He's
That's
the
what I'm
captain.
saying.
He's got to be. They threw a lot of money at him, and he took it. But there's a lot that comes with it. He's got to be the leader of that team now.
He's going to be manning the ship over in Miami on that defense. But talking about the Ravens, what do you think is gonna what do you think is gonna happen with them?
I don't know. It's tough because everyone's freaking out over everything that's happening.
You think James Harrison might be the only signing, or do you think any other?
I mean,
probably be a couple small signings.
Yeah, like the minor things. Yeah. But I think Harrison would be a great pickup. And a lot of people on ESPN are saying, how bad are the Ravens going to be? I mean, if you look at it, we have basically our top 6 players all signed long term.
Yeah.
Flacco got the crazy money, but
That would be
it's
that would be
today's day and age.
reconstructed.
Yeah, it's gonna be reconstructed in 3 years anyway.
Yeah.
So let's stop freaking out about that. I haven't found out how much under the cap they are now.
Yeah.
But you would figure it'd have to be a lot with how much payroll has been cut already.
Yeah.
Ozzy knows what he's doing. I mean, it's moves like James Harrison that proves Ozzy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's why, until the season starts, whatever. I have faith in this team. I have faith in that the ownership and just, this team is very committed. They know what they're doing. So I have no personal worries. I mean, they're turning offensive. And I think that's what's scaring a lot of people.
Yeah, because they've always been defense.
I mean, since they've been made, they've been defense. So I think that's what's worrying a bunch of people is, they're not going to have that defense anymore. Well, we didn't have that defense last year, and we just won a Super Bowl. So
I mean,
we're turning offensive. That's football nowadays. Offense is turning into what wins.
Yeah. Also, going into my team, Dallas Cowboys. Really, they really can't make any moves. I mean, it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. They really cannot make any moves. Going into March 1st, they were $20 million over the cap. $20 million over the cap. They finally got under the cap, which is pretty amazing to see.
In itself is pretty amazing.
Which
this cap is just killing everyone, though.
Yeah, I'll give it up to Jerry Jones for getting them under the cap. I mean, they're not under the cap.
They're not,
they're really,
saved.
I think they're maybe $2 million under the cap, which is, I mean, really, you can only sign a guy to the minimum.
Yeah.
They were also they're looking at Brian Urlacher, which would be only a backup because of Sean Lee.
That wouldn't make sense with the cap and just
So I mean, they got what they wanted. They got Anthony Spencer back. They franchise tagged him. They released Felix Jones, which I knew was coming.
Yeah.
They released Marcus Spears, Gerald Sensabaugh. They're probably going to go safety in the draft unless Warmack's at the Cowboys draft pick.
Of course, yeah. I mean, you can't pass on that guy.
They'll definitely go with him. But other than that, I don't. If there's not a proven offensive lineman in the draft in that first round, I think they're going all safety. They like the guy Vaccaro.
There's a couple proven offensive linemen, but I believe one of them is going first pick to the Chiefs, so that they takes off one of them.
Well, that was another thing that the Chiefs did. They really got what they needed in free agency.
So they can take care of the little things in the draft, like offensive line. And stuff like that.
They need that. But definitely. The Cowboys. It kind of sucks to see them not really doing anything because they're always players. Yeah.
Definitely. It's just it's the cap. I mean, everyone's struggling with this cap.
Definitely. I mean, what are you gonna do? But before we go to break, I want to let you know that we're gonna get into UFC 158, the keys to victory, next, and also I want to talk about maybe a few rules getting changed in the NFL. So we'll talk about that, and then later on we'll get into NBA and NHL stuff. You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Show. Be right back.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Show on Allnoiseradio. We're gonna do some previewing of the big fights on tomorrow night. So let's give it to Jerry. UFC 158. Not really that many good fights on the fight card. Well, I'm not gonna say good fights, but they're gonna be good fights, but not really known people. Besides GSP, but
that's the reason why people are gonna really gonna. But the first fight that I really think is going to be a really good fight is Colin Freak Show Fletcher versus
he's versing Mike Ritchie.
Oh yeah, Mike Ritchie. So we'll get into the keys to victory. Tom, why don't you give him the keys to victory for Mike Ritchie?
Well, Mike Ritchie's a stand-up fighter, as you know, and he goes in there, stays bouncy. He's looking for a knockout.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's also smart, he's looking to establish the jab. That's his main thing. And pivot off that, especially against, unpredictable fighter as the Freak Show, as they so call him. Yeah. And he definitely is. I mean, you're showing me that guy is a freak.
Scary. He shaved down all his teeth to make it look like razor-sharp teeth. So
Resembling the movie It,
yeah, pretty much.
which is exactly what this guy looks like in It.
Yeah. My keys to victory for Colin Fletcher. Pretty much title for it, Constrict. He's it's hard to imagine like these two fighting each other because they're so mismatched. Fletcher's game plan, is to really disrupt the other man's game plan. He tends to, be submissions from, notably chokes. All 7 of his tap out wins came that way. Richie is not especially comfortable on the ground, so Fletcher should try to exploit that and get those long arms of Richie around Richie's neck. Then maybe he can sink those teeth in for a fight-ending vampire-turning bite.
Yeah, I think I'm taking that psychopath. I don't know how you can go against that guy.
You know what it is? A lot of guys that are really stand up really have a tough time, going down to the ground. And Richie's more of that knockout kind of guy, and Fletcher's more of that, kind of annoying, grapple. Yeah. So and he's a big dude, So it'll be a good fight. It'd be.
It seems always tough for like the knockout guys when they go against these kind of guys.
Yeah,
because, they know if they get you on the ground, you don't stand much of a chance.
Yeah, he's gonna pretty much ground and pound and just try to submit him. He's more of a submission guy, Colin Fletcher. So it's gonna be cool. By the way, the weigh-ins are today at 4:00. Hopefully,
if you guys aren't believing us about this guy,
definitely
just watch the weigh-in.
You're gonna see, fireworks in this one. Nick Diaz always has a problem at the weigh-ins when he doesn't like a fighter.
Yeah.
He's a sick guy. We'll get into more of that when we get into that fight. But yeah, definitely, you'll definitely see how much of a freak show this guy is. So Colin Fletcher. Next fight, we got Carlos Condit versus Johnny Hendricks. Really good fight. Tom, give him the keys to victory for Condit.
Carlos Condit's definitely he's about combinations, and Hendricks has the power edge, but Condit's attack is more versatile, which is always it's good to have being able to mix it up. Condit did use punches and other strikes to set up that dangerous high kick he has, which he used to knock down GSP and sword the decisive blow on Nick Diaz.
Yeah.
So Condit will undoubtedly need to stay away from Hendricks' curtain closing left hook. So watch out for that. But he should get away from those with the razor sharp combinations he has. But something tells me he won't.
Yeah. My keys to victory for Johnny Hendricks is pretty much don't fix it, because he really isn't broke.
Yeah.
So everyone keeps trying to talk about Hendricks using his wrestling and this and that. But he's going to look for Condit's chin and put the left hand on it until it stops working. That's pretty much the simple key for Johnny Hendricks in this fight, which is going to be a really good fight. I think it might be a knockout. Whether it, if Condit, he's more, he kind of likes to stay up. He goes for those kicks. But Johnny Hendricks is all, he can do pretty much everything. Like we were saying, he can wrestle. He can wrestle, but he is a very strong guy. And look for that left hook pretty much. But the next fight we'll get into is the main event of this fight card. Very, very, very good fight. I can't really wait for this one. This is going to be fireworks pretty much.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see the weigh-in today.
It's such a different story when
they hate each other.
Yeah, it's one thing, just do a fight, and just fight a guy because it's your job.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different story when you literally hate the other person. Yeah,
there's more to this story. And if you want to hear more of this story, you can watch the countdown, usually on Fuel TV or even FX kind of has
Spike
depending
probably.
on it. Yeah. But a quick go around this. They were supposed to fight almost a year and a half ago or so. Maybe even 2 years ago. I forgot what it was. But GSP ended up getting hurt, and there was all different things. Diaz ended up going into 2 different fights, and he won both. He won one of them, lost one of them. But I mean, he came back. He's the contender now. He's the number one contender. He's going into this fight, and he's pretty much Nick Diaz is more of that loudmouth, kind of like cocky kind of guy. And he's had problems with Dana White where he's missed mandatory things, whether it be a press conference or an open workout for, TV and stuff like that. So, he's had his problems. Very good fighter. I'd give him that. Him and his brother are very good fighters in the UFC. But this fight is definitely, a must watch kind of thing. If you're not doing anything Saturday, try to get a few people, get them over to the house, order it. Definitely going to be a good fight. You definitely want to see this fight because of the hate between these two. And GSP said you're never going to see another whooping that he's going to give someone in this octagon. So definitely a must watch. But Tom, why don't you give him the keys to victory for George St. Pierre?
Well, the champ, by his standards, is definitely emotional for this fight. He obviously doesn't like Nick Diaz, as we talked about. Yeah. And clearly, he wants to put a whooping on him.
Oh, definitely.
And as it happens, GSP's takedowns, irresistible guard breaking, and vicious close range strikes are the very tools that, give Diaz the most problems.
Yeah.
So if GSP just stays within himself, do what he does, execute what he typically executes, it's pretty easy to believe that he should have no problems with this fight.
Yeah. My keys to victory for Nick Diaz, pretty much, I'm not going to say he doesn't have any shot at all. I really do like Nick Diaz. I think he's a great asset to the UFC because of what he brings. The controversy. Yeah, everybody kind of likes that kind of guy. He doesn't have that great of wrestling or great power to hang in with GSP. He has a 2-inch disadvantage in the reach department. What's to keep GSP from burying that jab in his eye over and over and over again? Pretty much because that's what GSP is all about. That jab is really, really, really crazy. He likes to do that like Superman jab. Yeah, for that matter, what's to keep GSP from freight training him to the ground? Maybe nothing, but Diaz does have a couple of things going for him. He knows how to work the body. Maybe he can get in there, but even more importantly, he knows jiu-jitsu, or as Diaz puts it, he knows Caesar Gracie jiu-jitsu. So that's his way of putting it, I guess. If GSP puts Diaz on his back, and I think there's a good chance that he will, maybe there's a kind of adapted dope possibility there. If Diaz can throw on a triangle, maybe he can force the tap. Nick Diaz, UFC welterweight champion. There are worse things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely going to be a very good fight. Diaz does like to go on his back though. I've seen a few fights where he's been knocked down, but he really likes to be on his back. You'll see him put his leg, in some kind of triangle that you don't even think you could put your leg. So it's kind of crazy. But he's definitely a cocky individual. Actually, I won't even say cocky. He's just kind of like, that kind of annoying kind of like, he knows his stuff. He thinks he's better than you.
Mm-hmm. So that's that kind of thing that really irritates someone.
Yeah, and he's done that to GSP. Also, a little background into this fight. Also, Nick Diaz, right before he was supposed to fight again, he got actually after one of his fights, he got tested positive for marijuana, so he was suspended for a year. So he was out for 13 months before this fight. So this is going to be a really good test to see what happens. But this is definitely going to be a good fight. Definitely, you want to order it. It's preliminary fights start on FX at 8 o'clock. You'll get, I think, 4 fights. Yeah, you'll get 4 fights on the prelims. You can even get prelims on Facebook earlier at 6:30. You get 3 fights on that. Really anybody knows. But definitely, the prelims are a good one to watch because they're free, obviously.
Yeah.
and definitely you want to watch the main card. Try to get that on pay-per-view. It's going to be a good one. And if, like I said, you can watch the weigh-ins today at 4 o'clock on Fuel TV. I think it's on Fuel TV. So definitely check that out. If it's not, it's on FX. So pick that out. And if you guys are really into the UFC, check out the Ultimate Fighter Tuesday nights at 10 o'clock on FX. Actually, it's 9 o'clock, I think. So check that out. Really good season this year. Really good season with John Bones Jones and Chael Sonnen as the coaches. I can't wait for that fight. That fight's going to be amazing. It's in New Jersey, too, so it's close over here.
Yeah, it's not
also,
too bad.
Quick, I guess you could say that the UFC has really been trying to work at getting the UFC into New York because it's been banned. And what I've been hearing is that it's a good chance it'll happen soon. Dana White already has a whole thing set up for MSG. Once he gets the good, the thumbs up, he's got a whole fight card and everything for it. So he's ready to go at MSG, and we'll see what happens with that. But they've really been going hard lately to get it into the city, New York.
Yeah.
Because pretty much this is the only place that it's been banned. So I would love to see it get into New York.
That would be really cool to see.
And what I've been hearing was that the guys, the hierarchy in New York that really been they've been trying to get on their side really said that if it's going to bring a lot of economic possibility, they're really
and it definitely
really,
will.
Definitely, absolutely.
New York's the biggest market in the country.
Yeah.
Maybe
this is the one place Dana White really wants to get into. New York.
And you can't blame him. I mean, as I just
this
said,
this is definitely the moneymaker.
Yeah,
Once you get into
the
New
biggest
York.
market in the States.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
he can make a lot of revenue out there in New York.
Before after the break, we're gonna get into NBA and NHL news. So listen to that. You're listening to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Show on Allnoiseradio. Now we get into something that gets my co-host very, very hurt down inside. His favorite player, Mr. Kobe Bryant, falling down on Dante Jones's foot and severely sprained his ankle.
See, you know what it is. I think it was absolutely 100% intentional. I think it was very dirty. This is not the first time that it's happened to Kobe, especially with Dante Jones. But this is not the first time that someone's walked under a shot and he's gotten hurt with it. Jalen Rose has done it a couple of times. He's known for it.
He said he did it.
He said he did it against Kobe. And Kobe doesn't like Jalen Rose for that. But the last time, this whole thing happened with Dante Jones was in the Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets, where he just purposely tripped Kobe.
Kobe was on a clear path to the basket, basically, and blatant, clear trip.
Yeah, so, I mean, Kobe, if you haven't heard yet, which I'm pretty sure, if you're listening in on the show, you obviously watch sports.
Yeah.
You should know about this. Kobe was going for a last-second shot to win the game against Atlanta the other night, and he ended up taking a fadeaway where he had pretty good distance between him and Dante Jones, and as he went up, Dante Jones kind of walked under him. Just to, Dante Jones says it was just, so, you get, he could get like a body in front of him. But Kobe came down on him, rolled his ankle. Right now, they've been saying it's he's out indefinitely with a severe ankle sprain. I don't know if this is going to hold Kobe down. I doubt it.
I doubt this will go more than a week.
Because Kobe is just, he knows how to play through pain. He has a very high pain tolerance. He's been playing with a hurt elbow lately. He's played with torn ligaments in his hands, broken fingers. You know, he's done all this. It's tough to play with, you know, an ankle injury.
That's the one.
Obviously,
Yeah, that's the one difference. I mean, I believe it was his right foot too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's his left.
It was his left.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, either way, it's still tough. I mean, you still got to jump, you know, for those jump shots, and you still got to land on that foot. So it's tough, but I mean, Kobe he's a freak when it comes to, you know, being able to play with injuries.
Yeah.
You know, he's clearly the toughest guy in basketball. So, personally, I mean, I don't see this going more than a week. I mean, I could see him sitting out tonight, or maybe trying to, you know, get out there and see, you know, just see how it is before the game, you know, see what happens. But, you know, missing tonight would be understandable. You know, give it another day, let the swelling, make sure it's down.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I can't see this going more than, you know, 3 games, 35 games.
Right now, he's a game time decision, which is, I mean, better.
Amazing in its own.
Yeah. I mean, this just goes to show you. You know, the thing is, like, before I get into that, it's sad because it's lately, you know, the last couple of years, Kobe will get on a real insane roll where he's, you know, he's ridiculous. Like, everybody's just like, you know, jaw dropping, you know, at you know, the way he's been playing. I mean, the guy, you know, he's won the NBA Player of the Week the last, I think, 3 of the last 5 weeks. The last week he was averaging, I think, 36 points a game,
38 and 38 and 7 or something.
So, you know, he's been playing he's been on a ridiculous level.
Yeah, and the team is finally starting to click, and I think that's the biggest, you know, disappointment, I guess you could say, is
that's the thing. Like,
they were finally, you know,
finding
playing.
That role.
Yeah, they were playing the way we were expecting to see all year, and you know, and then this happens, you know, and hopefully it's just a minor setback for him. But, I mean, it's something like this that can, you know, stop that momentum they had going. I mean, not only do you lose the game, but you lose your best player for, you know, who knows how long, you know, a couple games, you know. So that's very momentum stopping. And
you know, the problem with the Lakers this year is they haven't really found an identity.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed like they were, really, really getting towards that, you know, that identity the last couple, you know, maybe week or so. And then this happened. So, you know, but it just, right now, if he does go out and play, you know, tonight, you know, he's been round-the-clock treatment and everything. Yeah. But if he does play tonight, this goes and shows you, you know, what's going on with Melo.
Yeah,
you know,
Derrick Rose.
You know, Melo just got his knee drained. Kobe had that done twice last year in the playoffs and played that night. So it's not like, just go out and play.
Yeah.
You know, if you want your team getting into the playoffs, obviously I know the Knicks are already in the playoffs and they're probably going to stay in the playoffs, but you're just losing.
Yeah.
You're losing ground because the further you go down, the closer you get to playing the Heat in the first round.
That's the problem with Melo is
Melo,
when he's 100%. When Melo's 100%, you know, he's good. He's one of the best players in the league, but if he's anything below 90%, he is terrible.
Yeah,
he's terrible.
Oh yeah,
there's
absolutely.
no other way to put it.
Absolutely.
And that's what puts Kobe and LeBron on that other level, because, you know, LeBron doesn't miss many games. LeBron, you know, barely. I don't even know the last time he didn't play in a game because of injury.
I don't remember the last time he's gotten hurt.
And
really.
Exactly, that's and that's a point that. You don't know when he gets hurt because he doesn't mention it, you know, he doesn't say anything about it. He just plays through it, and that's the same thing with Kobe.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets brought up a little more, Kobe, but, you know, those are the two guys that, you know, no matter what, they're going to get out there for the team because they know they're the best chance that team has of winning.
Exactly. I mean,
that's what puts you on that other level that only those two guys are on right now.
Really, for real, yeah.
Those are the top two. No one else is on that because they can't do what these guys do.
You know, it's tough to say. I mean, you know, if he's going to play tonight. In my mind, I think he's playing. And honestly,
if he doesn't, I think this has to be the game for Dwight to step up.
And we didn't even really get to talk about the game that he had the other day because we were on the air last time on Monday.
Yeah,
he went into Orlando and
dominated,
absolutely dominated. That was the old school Dwight Howard.
And it's funny. I mean, when we were talking Monday, you brought up how he's trying to learn a lot more from Kobe and stuff like that. Well, he did a pretty good job at that because he did exactly what Kobe said to do: go in there and
and whoop them,
make them miss you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what he did.
And you know what? Kobe wasn't having that great of a game. I think he was like 4 for 14. But he did dish the ball. He gave it to Dwight, and he knew Dwight was the hot hand, and that's the thing I like about Kobe. Lately, with his old age, he's been more of
he's definitely
the facilitator.
A lot more. Yes.
So he knows that he was having an off night. And honestly, if anybody's having an off night, it's tough for them to break out of it. Kobe's the easiest one to break out of it.
Yes.
Well, it's sick because once you see him, it's pretty much like in his mind.
See the one go down.
That's it. That's all it is. That's all it is. Once he sees that ball go into the basket, he's hot.
Yeah.
He's hot. That's the thing. And I really can't say that about any other player in the NBA. So he'll keep on shooting. Obviously, he'll keep on shooting until he gets one down.
Kobe's been doing this all year with Dwight. He's been feeding Dwight the ball, trying to get this role that Dwight's finally on. I mean, maybe it was because he was just off back surgery and everything. He's not completely healthy.
Yeah.
He's finally starting to get back to what he was.
Yeah.
But if Kobe doesn't play tonight, Dwight has to step up and get close to like a 35, 15 kind of. I mean, he really has to step up and be the man for this team tonight if Kobe doesn't play.
They were saying that Pau Gasol might be back Monday, which is, it's big. You don't know how they're going to play with him, but it's big just to get him on the court.
At least start with Pau, start bringing him off the bench instead of starting
They
him.
actually said that he will be starting.
So I don't like that.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
As we got into with Dwight last time, he's much better when he's the only big man on the court.
Yeah.
That's how he likes playing.
We'll see. Tonight it's if Kobe doesn't play, it's got to be Nash and Dwight Howard. It's got to be.
They got to live.
Those are the best players on that team. So we'll see what happens. But the Knicks lose another one. I mean,
it was a bad one too. It was just
it's
the roster that had who they started and just it was
because Tyson Chandler got hurt and Carmelo left the game. I feel bad for them because of what they had to put out yesterday.
Yeah.
But
but there's no one to blame but themselves. I
hate to say to everybody, but we told you so.
Yeah. And I mean, not to rub it in and make it worse with this Knicks free fall they're doing, but we kind of did tell you so.
Yeah. We told you not to get hyped in the beginning of the season when everybody was yelling Knicks. We told you not to really get hype until end of the season, and this is when.
And for the exact reasons that we said, they were relying way too much on the threes.
And look what happened.
If you go month by month, it has gotten worse and worse and worse.
And their record has gotten worse and worse.
Exactly.
And the funny thing is, like I said the last time, the whole Carmelo trade, with Denver's got like a 10-game win lead over the Knicks.
And they smoked the Knicks that night. They smoked
absolutely.
them. And it looks like the Nuggets made out a little better, but I don't want to get into it. I want to stay on the Knicks a little bit. And when you watch them play, their offenses, they're like sitting ducks out there.
What it is with,
and it's even worse when Melo's not in because then J.R. Smith's just like, okay, this is my opportunity to shoot 30 times a game.
But you know what it is? They're all like that though.
Yeah, that's the problem.
They're all
no
single players.
Yes.
J.R. Smith has always been
selfish.
Yeah,
always.
Melo's like that now. It's just
you got Jason Kidd, who's 47 years old out there. Who they just signed to a 3-year deal, guarantee it won't even make it past this year.
Yeah,
at the most. Novak's gone, disappeared. It seems.
Yeah,
and it's slowly getting worse and worse with the Knicks. And I do believe the Nets will. The Nets have a tough road streak. They have 8 games in a row.
I think they win the division.
I do believe the Nets will get that division.
Yeah,
the Knicks have to really be careful about who they get matched up with in the first round.
I think absolutely they lose in the first round. I think against
depending
anybody.
I mean, it's getting to that point. It honestly is, but especially, I mean, if they get matched up against, say, like a Chicago or Boston, it's
There's no way.
not even going to be close.
Yeah.
And out of the playoff teams now, I mean, who can you say that they have a chance to win 4 games against? I can't say anyone.
No.
So it's getting ugly, and we're loving it though because MSG is falling apart, as we said, with the Knicks and the
Rangers.
Those lovely Rangers sitting outside the playoffs for those Stanley Cup favorites that they are.
The Rangers lost to the Jets last night 3-1, dropping them to the 9th seed, and the Jets took over the 8th seed with 30 points.
It's not bad for Stanley Cup favorites, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Rangers have 28 points, and the good old New York Islanders won last night. Nice shutout from Nabokov. They won 2-0 last night. John Tavares scored another goal, still keeping that MVP going. The Islanders 27 points now. They're 1 behind the Rangers, 3 behind the 8th seed. So all they got to do is keep winning.
When you Rangers fans, like to say how much our team stinks, let's
we don't spend the money, and we're 1 point behind you guys.
Yeah, so let's pump the brakes over there in MSG.
Yeah, that's about it for our show today. When you hear us next,
this is it. I mean,
we're going to be on allnoiseradio.com. Like I said, if you want to listen to us, if you're not home with the computer, you can go on to the App Store or the Play Store, whatever.
It's on Droid. It's on
Droid, and it's called Live 365. We'll be on there. You end up going to categories. You go to talk, then you go to sports, and All Noise Radio will be on that. So check that out. Wednesdays 5 to 6 p.m. Fridays repeated at 5 to 6 p.m. So check that out. We'll be there next week, March 20th. We're excited.
Yes, definitely. Excited.
I hope you guys really come along with us. This is really a big step in our
This is what we've been, we did all this YouTube stuff for, and this was what it was built up for. So
we're thinking about it. We might just keep on giving you guys one show on YouTube every week. So we'll see what happens. But probably not next week. We're going to be really going in on this All Noise Radio.
Definitely.
So definitely check that out. I hope you guys come along with us, come along with the ride. Like we said, if we make it big, you guys support us, we'll love you. You don't support us and you come at us,
I don't see you.
We're going to chuck up the deuces.
Exactly.
But Tom and Jerry Show signing out on YouTube for good.
Yes.
Hopefully not, but pretty much for
most
good.
Most likely.
All Noise next stop. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Tom.
We out. Be breezy. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Tom and Jerry Show.